LA Knight not winning. Welcome to Wrestle Capsule. I'm your host, B. Today, we are going to be talking about what went down the Money in the Bank Premium Live event. Let's get into it. The men's match. So it was LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Logan Paul versus Ricochet versus Santos Escobar versus Butch versus Damian Priest. When the match started, everyone started ganging up on Logan Paul. And throughout the entire match, you could hear the crowd's disdain, hatred for Logan Paul. Butch going under the ring, pulling out these tables. It's a ladder match. Pulling out these tables. What the frick is he doing? But he ended up getting out a cricket bat and started wailing on these dudes. Then you got Logan Paul trying to recruit Damian Priest to work with him, and they started setting up the tables, but then Damian just popped Logan Paul after the fact and threw him into steel steps. And even with the crowd chanting, "You still suck," to Logan Paul, when Damian Priest was on the ladder, Logan Paul did a frog splash onto this man. The crowd was still chanting, "You still suck, you still suck." Butch choking the freak out of Santos Escobar on the ladder. Ricochet coming out of nowhere and doing a splash on these men that are on the ladder. Like, Ricochet did a lot of risky moves on these ladders. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on, I think it was Logan Paul and Ricochet. They were on the ladder and LA Knight was at the bottom. He just pushed the ladder. He was just like, nah, cuz he pushed the ladder, and both of these men jumped to the ropes. And then I believe Ricochet did a freaking Spanish fly on the middle rope to Logan Paul onto the two tables, and it looked like Ricochet saved. That could have been a real super botch move, but he saved it. But at the same time, it looked like Logan got the brunt of that. But LA Knight not winning, and instead Damian Priest winning. There was a point in this match when LA Knight was at the top of the ladder. The crowd in London was going freaking banana chips, and he had his hand on the freaking briefcase. He was literally about to unlatch it and get the briefcase, and Damian Priest came out of nowhere and freaked him up, and they both fell off the ladder. But then Damian was able to go up there, no one was there, and get the briefcase and win the Money in the Bank match. The people's choice was LA Knight. Everybody in their mama wanted LA Knight to get the briefcase, but he didn't. And I saw a lot of people on social media was so pissed. They were just like, Triple H effed up, WWE fumbled this is ridiculous, LA Knight, this should have been LA Knight's night, all this stuff. And I had to sit back and think about it. Now, while I was disappointed that LA Knight did not get the briefcase, taking a step back and looking at what WWE is doing, I see it. I low-key see the vision. For one thing, Damian Priest has been, oh my gosh, Damian Priest, let us not forget that crazy street match that he had at Backlash against Bad Bunny. That was a breakout match. That was insane. To the point where people were like, you know what, this should have been the main event. F the Bloodline. This should have been the main event. So with that, I'm like, okay. And then he's in the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor has a match against Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. There's things you could do. They're not saying that there's not things to do with LA Knight. Now, even with LA Knight not getting the briefcase, the reaction, not only on social media by fans that were just pissed off, but by the crowd in London, they were so mad. They are still invested in LA Knight. I do not believe that LA Knight not getting the briefcase is going to stunt his momentum. If anything, this is going to get people even more behind LA Knight to go on that journey. I mean, kudos to Damian Priest for getting the briefcase. And then overall, this match, kudos to all the men. Like, this was a great way to start off Money in the Bank. Now, while I would love to talk about how happy I am that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez gained the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships back, this match, I totally missed seeing Raquel powerbomb Liv Morgan into their opponents, but with Shayna Baszler randomly turning on Ronda? What? Flabbergasted. But I was thoroughly confused because they supposed to be besties. Shayna just started wailing on Ronda. And it was funny because I was looking at the facial expressions of Liv Morgan, and Liv went from shocked to laughing. And of course, with any sane person, Liv and Raquel took advantage of this situation, because after Shayna beat up Ronda, she was dipped out. She left. Like, you deuces every which way you done. Like, Babu didn't even give a F about the championship match. Now, was Liv's oblivion to Ronda supposed to look like that? And if it is, I hope she does it like that moving forward. Like, I've watched Liv Morgan wrestle for a while now, and I'm telling you, that is one of the best oblivions I've ever seen her do. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you already know I hate the oblivion so much. Every time Liv does it, I cringe. I was like, this is not a strong enough move to pin her opponents for 1, 2, 3 and win a match. Like, come on, let's be real. But this one, the way Ronda sold that sucker, this is the only kudos I would give to Ronda. The way she sold that sucker. Why? Why did Shayna Baszler do this? Didn't know this match was going to be the catalyst for Shayna to turn on Ronda. Now, I'm looking forward to the explanation, because it really does seem out of nowhere. If anything, it just felt like it was just one of those things where, ooh, we need a shock factor in this match, because the match itself is kind of like, do people really care about it? People like Raquel, people like Liv. We're so happy that Liv's back, but is that really enough to hold people's attention and actually care about the women's tag team championship match? So they had to throw in something that's going to be crazy, really out of left field. Now, is it me, or did the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Matt Riddle seem short? Maybe I'm just tripping. I don't know. I mean, if you really look at it, Gunther really does fly through his opponents. And kudos to Matt Riddle for staying in for that long, because Gunther was targeting that ankle like nobody's business. Drew McIntyre coming out, man, came back strong and started freaking up the ring general. I'm getting a vibe that we're probably going to get an Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, and I hope we do. Cody Rhodes versus ex-con Dominik Mysterio. This match, honestly, let me just state some facts here. If Rhea Ripley was not on ringside, this match would have went a lot quicker than it did, okay? The stifling part is Rhea Ripley. Mommy is always going to be on ringside. Mommy is always going to interfere to make sure that her boo-boo dom-dom gets the edge and gets the W. But in this case, it don't matter what mommy did for ex-con dom-dom, like, he didn't win. Cody Rhodes was able to pick up the W. And I feel like this match itself didn't really propel any sort of storyline with Dominik and Cody Rhodes. If anything, this match just seemed like a way for Cody Rhodes to get a W, especially after what happened in Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia when Brock Lesnar annihilated Cody Rhodes and effed up his arm even further than it already was effed up. Like, I feel like Cody needed this W under his belt for him to propel forward and to finish the story. Even though it didn't propel a specific story for both Dominik and Cody Rhodes together, individually they benefited. That's the point that I'm getting at. Cody Rhodes benefited from the W, and then if anything, Dominik Mysterio, he was able to have a match with a main eventer like Cody Rhodes to advance his heelism and to get more experience. So I mean both of them got something out of the match, but this match wasn't all that in a bag of potato chips. Y'all, I was shooketh when John Cena came back. Talk about a surprise appearance. Like, London went off. Shoot, I went off. Like, I was like, I haven't always been a John Cena fan. Let me just let you know that. There was this point in my life where I just didn't want to see the man. I couldn't stand it. I wasn't really into his wrestling. I just thought he was so corny. When he came out, I was just like, what? Super happy, just pouring into the WWE universe, getting them excited about a possible WrestleMania London. Is that really gonna happen? I don't know. I mean, I did watch the press conference where, like, the reporters kept asking Triple H, like, is that a possibility? Is there going to be another premium live event in London this year? Like, what's up with the what's up? So there is definitely demand for it, and I feel like John Cena made it so much harder on WWE because now that's in their mind. Are we going to get another one? Then Grayson Waller comes out. I was not expecting for John Cena and Grayson Waller to have a little scuffy because, I mean, as we know, Grayson Waller was healing from an injury. I was like, oh, I guess so dude is good now, like he not injured now. It was Grayson Waller to do the sneak attack, and of course the attitude adjustment just laid out Grayson Waller. And I do want to make this thing, maybe I'm off with this one, but you guys can let me know in the comments below. Sometimes I feel like, especially with this segment with John Cena and Grayson Waller, sometimes I feel like Grayson Waller is who Austin Theory is supposed to be. The response that Grayson Waller gets from the crowd compared to Austin Theory, like, even though both of these men are heels, Austin Theory is currently the United States champion, but Grayson Waller gives off this thing, like, I can't really put my finger on it, but the way the crowd responds to him, they boo him, they can't stand him, but they want to hear him. They want to see what he's going to say. Do people really care about Austin Theory? Like, you see what's going on with the United States Championship. Like, you guys let me know in the comments below if you agree with me, if you have a different theory of those two, the women's Money in the Bank match. Let's just get into that now. So it was Bayley versus Becky Lynch versus Zelina Vega versus Io Sky versus Trish Stratus versus Zoe Stark. Now, I already had my predictions of who I thought was going to win. Now I had separate ones. I had ones of who I want to win, and then I had ones of who I think is going to win. Now, who I wanted to win, I had two. I wanted Zelina Vega to win. Now, if she wasn't going to win, I was like, you know what? I would love for Io Sky to win. So Zelina and Io, I was like, those are my two that I would want to win. Like, if it was either of those, I would be happy. Now, in terms of who I thought was going to win, actually Io was still in that. And I also was thinking for some odd reason that Becky Lynch was going to win. Now, they've said this, Becky Lynch has not won the Money in the Bank briefcase yet. So I was thinking that maybe for some way, even with the odds against her with, you know, Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus in there, like, I was like, maybe Becky Lynch is going to get this one, or Io Sky. And I mean, I was right either way, y'all, because Io Sky got the briefcase. But let me before I get into all that, let me just take a step back and talk to you guys about some of my favorite parts within this match, because overall, this was good. There's multiple stories going on. You have Bayley and Io, then you have Becky Lynch and Bayley. They're both two of the four horsewomen. Go with that. Then you have Becky Lynch having issues with Trish Stratus, which means if you got an issue with Trish Stratus, you got an issue with Zoe Stark. Then you got the whole Bayley and Io Sky thing, both of them being in damage control, how that can go. And then Zelina Vega being the smallest lady, fighting against all these other women just to get to the tippity-toppity too. Much like Damian Priest did an amazing job at Backlash with his street fight match against Bad Bunny. That was dope AF. You have him get the briefcase. And then you have Io Sky, who had, people will debate me on this. Y'all gonna be debating with yourself. I enjoyed the match between Bianca Belair and Io Sky. I feel like Io Sky was a breakout star. They were chanting for this woman. They didn't give a F about Bianca Belair. They were all for Io Sky. So I see the parallel and I see why they did it. But once again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get into what I liked about the match. Zoe handcuffing Becky Lynch with the help of Trish was funny AF, and they're on ringside and they're freaking each other up. That was crazy. And it's funny because the whole handcuff thing came back. I love when Zelina Vega pulled the chancla out of nowhere. I'm like, girl, where were you hiding this flip-flop? And started spanking Zoe Stark with it. And then I think Zelina did a code red on Zoe onto the, oh my gosh, like Zoe got all that junk. I'm hoping, this is me being positivity Susan, I am hoping that WWE is going to continue to allow Zelina Vega to grow, allow Zelina Vega to get opportunities, because first and foremost, this is amazing that she was able to be in the Money in the Bank match. Bayley pushing the ladder that her stablemate Io Sky was on. I think it was Bayley and Becky Lynch on the ladder. And this woman, Becky that is, because she still had the handcuffs on, she legit took the other end of the handcuff and started putting it in Bayley's mouth and like hooking her. Io being on the ladder as well. All three of these women, Becky, Io, and Bayley, being on the ladder. Io handcuffing Bayley to Becky and then freaking them up, just getting all the commotion that's going on. For Io Sky to be able to grab the briefcase and win the match, like, that was dope AF. And it's funny because, like I said earlier in the video, I was watching the press conference and Io Sky and Bayley coming out along with Damian Priest, and Io and Bayley were acting like they were cool. They was basically saying like, this is our briefcase. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Like, that wasn't discussed originally, but apparently the briefcase is both Bayley's and Io's, and they low cute kind of fighting over it. And I mean, that is brewing. Like, they're not gonna outright like break down damage control. You gotta build on that momentum. You gotta be smart with it to get that payday. So I get it. This World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth freaking Rollins and Finn Balor was all that I was looking forward to. Now, if anything, me being greedy, I would have loved for it to go a little bit longer. Like, I was enjoying it so much, and both of these men have such history with working with one another that it was so apparent in the match. The aggression, the anger, the resentment, the bitterness, like, it was just so amazing. And it was crazy because every time Seth freaking Rollins would set up a move, a lot of times Finn Balor was just like, get that out of here. Finn Balor, like, I really thought that Finn was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday because of the way he was going. Like, the man was ruthless. Like, how many times, now I'm remembering, how many times did this dude do a coup de grace on Seth freaking Rollins? Was like 3 or 4 times. Like, he kept going. But then you have Damian Priest come out with his Money in the Bank briefcase that he just won, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, what is going on here? Like, I didn't understand why Damian was coming. Like, it was just like, okay, we get it. At any time you can cash in, it don't matter. But your boy Finn Balor is having a championship match right now. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you there for Finn Balor for support, or are you there to cash in when like the opportunity presents itself? Finn done freaked up Seth so much that you're just gonna come in and handle business. I mean, and like I keep going back to the press conference because everyone is still in their character. And Damian Priest, when he got the question, I forgot what the question was. I think it had something to do with him coming out with Finn and Seth having their championship match, and he was saying like we wasn't doing that to freak up Finn's opportunity. It's unfortunate that it did, but he came out there to be some sort of distraction to kind of like keep Seth freaking Rollins on his toes so that Finn can capitalize. But I'm like, I don't know. These press conferences really do give you insight on stuff. Finn lost. Seth freaking Rollins was able to retain the World Heavyweight Championship, and then you see Finn and Damian on ringside, like kind of like, dude, what the freak? Come on, man! And I love this. They're brewing this. They are brewing this, and like I said, similar to with the whole Bayley and EO thing, they gotta build this right between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. You gotta take your time with it so that you do it right and you get the big payoff. And we get to the main event, which was the Bloodline Civil War, the Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. This was all that I could have hoped for and more in this match, because I know it ain't over. It can't be over. It can't be over. I wonder what's going to happen now. If anything, I feel like now it's going to be a one-on-one thing, like especially between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Like, I cannot wait to see that. And we've already seen it before, but this is going to be different. I feel like last time it was in the Thunderdome, but this time it's going to be in front of people. Okay, it's going to be crazy, and there's so much more behind it. The story that they were telling in the ring, like the pacing of it. Like, I love these kind of matches. Almost every time this man is having a match like this, the referee always gets effed up. Like, the referee always gets freaked up, and I'm just like, this man is just never careful. And there was one part in the match where we are seeing the breaking within Roman Reigns, because I forgot who Roman was pinning, but they kicked out. The face that Roman Reigns made when one of the Usos kicked out, it looked like it was a face of defeat, a face of fear. He looked flawed. Now, I mean, no one's perfect, let's be real, but he's been holding up this sort of persona for so long as the tribal chief on the island of relevancy. To see him in that way, he was giving me Charlotte Flair vibes. I kid you no lie. Like, the way, you know, with Charlotte Flair, like, she tells a story all in her face. And when her opponent kicks out, she's just like, I was getting that from Roman Reigns. He was just milking the moment, and he looked weak for a couple of seconds. He looked weak, and Solo Sikoa was standing strong and looking at Roman Reigns like, you're supposed to be my tribal chief. You're supposed to be the one who I take orders from, and you're looking weak. I'm being stronger than you. I'm getting freaked up too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still standing. You're on the ground freaking out. And it did not help that Paul Heyman is in Roman Reigns' ear talking about, if you don't do this, if you don't win, they're going to be sitting at his table, Jay's table. Your kids, your sons are going to be sitting at Jey Uso's table. That got in his mind. So you got Paul not helping. He's trying to help, but he's not helping. And then the moment with Roman Reigns just freaking out, essentially, and Solo looking at him like, mother effer, if you don't get yourself together right now. Because Solo's just like, I don't have time for this. We need to win this. So he just started picking him up and started getting him going. When is Solo Sikoa? And like, we already seen the breakage even between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, because it's just them now. I'm wondering when Solo is just going to get fed up, because throughout the match, Roman Reigns is telling Solo what to do. Tag me in. There were times where Solo was pausing and hesitant. I feel fed up, but at the same time, I'm not going to turn my back on the tribal chief. Not yet. And then the fact that the Usos won, that Jey Uso pinned Roman Reigns for the 1, 2, 3 after 3 years of not being pinned. Roman Reigns being pinned by his own cousin. There's so many parts in this. Like I loved, I think it was Jay who like did an ode to the Rock. When the Usos, both Jimmy and Jay, double speared Roman Reigns, and then them doing the freaking 1D. And I know I'm freaking all over the place, but the point is I enjoyed this match. So guys, let me know what you thought about Money in the Bank. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching. You will see me for Monday Night Raw. Signing off. Bye.